How I started with this series is I went to art school at Center for Creative Studies by the Detroit Institute of Arts, and I majored in photography. And so I got to photography because of my love of science. I really wanted to be a biologist, but once I got in the darkroom, I loved the chemistry, and my mother was an artist, and it just really spoke to me to do photography. So everything you're going to see is photographed in a studio, whether it's my studio or a botanical garden anywhere in the world, where I have to make a studio completely black. Sometimes when the pieces stay in a show for a year, then the plants will take over and start to grow around them, and they become part of the landscape. And I love that. I think that's great. So this cute lavender was part of a series that I did with my daughter Sarah, who's an acupuncturist and a Chinese herbal medicine doctor. She studied in China, and she and I had a show together on healing plants and herbs at the University of Michigan Hospital. My job was to photograph. They had a grant for me to photograph lindens, magnolias, and crab apples. And they have this beautiful crab apple vista that just has hundreds of trees. But for this job, they're not little plants, so I had to cut the branches, bring them over to the library, haul them down into the basement where my studio was. So we learned there to clean the plants before you go in the dark where there's no internet. And that's where I had some fun encounters with bugs. This is milkweed, and this spot was so great for it. My work very often, if there aren't stems coming in from the bottom, can be vertical or horizontal. And when we brought this here, I was thinking it would be over here, kind of horizontal. But when we got here, I was like, wow, this with the big trees and the space and the beautiful plants around it, it demanded to be upright. But come on up. This is tulip, parrot tulip. In Michigan, we have a city called Holland, Michigan, on the west coast of Michigan by the lake, and they have an amazing tulip festival every year, a big Dutch population there. And so this piece was from one of their tulips, and I brought a bunch of bulbs home, and you can really see the technique here, where whatever's in the foreground is lit and sharp, and then everything else kind of fades. Well, here's little Veronica, and usually she's about 40 by 80. And then you really get this swooping, design that almost reminds me like of a music clef, or usually that speedwell stands straight up, nice and high, and I kind of bent her to my will. But